And like Dr. Miller said, we basically were presented with the Red Bank Expressway, specifically the intersection at Duck Creek, Madison, and Erie Avenue. And we were just, what our objective for the quarter was to look at it, see what the problem exactly is, whether it was one particular intersection or was it the entire corridor itself. And we looked at short-term and then long-term possibilities. We have not analyzed it or did a lot of hard design yet. It was just kind of more of a brainstorming quarter. Basically what we did, our first step was we went and did a site visit to see exactly what was out there, so we could actually see. We went out in the morning during rush hour and in the evening as well. And then once we had our site visit, we got traffic data, and in this diagram here is the current Red Bank traffic volume. And when we met with the city, they said that it would be projected to approximately 60,000 over here and 40,000 at this area. So what we did, which is basically a 20 to 30% increase, what we did was projected it throughout the corridor all the way down to what the future would hold for the Red Bank corridor. And it's very represented through the intensities. Obviously the red is more intense than the yellow, and as well as the size of diameter. And that led us to moving in to see if there was any short-term fixes, and Michael will talk about those.
Alright. Well, obviously the first thing you want to try to look at is to see if there's any short-term remediation steps you can take, such as adding a turn lane, restriping, or possibly enhancing the signal timing, improving the signal timing, and optimizing the controls that are already there so you can make some type of improvement without spending a lot of money right offhand. So Jordan will talk about the different options we looked at, but basically I'm going to kind of explain this diagram here. And what we have here is I did kind of a preliminary analysis with highway capacity software, and try to get a measure of delay for each of the three main intersection areas. And so basically the size of this big clock represents the amount of time that any given car, average time that any given car would spend waiting to get through the intersection, whatever direction they're trying to go. So the size represents how much delay. And you can see the biggest, this is the morning, and this is the evening, and they're all existing volumes based on just the existing volumes that you see here. And so this is the output here, these two graph charts, and basically the result is every intersection failed pretty miserably. And one thing to note about the highway capacity software, it's not 100% reliable. I know ODOT doesn't always accept it as output, but it does give a basic measure of delay, a basic indication of how well the intersection performed. The delays, the actual number of delays might be a little bit excessive, we'll say that. But basically you can see in the evening, the biggest thing to look at is Duck Creek and Red Bank. It has a 5-minute delay. You just can't get through the area in any reasonable amount of time. So that's the biggest issue we see. So what we're trying to look at is different ways where we can eliminate the number of times people stop by eliminating the number of signals, as many signals as we can, where reasonable, and eliminate, and such as like down at Erie here again. This delay that you see here is actually just for Red Bank and Brotherton intersection. If you actually want to get to Erie, you have to go through 3 signals if you want to go that direction on Erie. So take that delay, plus the delay for the next signal, plus the delay for the next signal, and that's how long it takes you to get to Erie from Red Bank. So we want to try to look at ways to combine the interchange, combine the signals, so that there's less points where you have to stop and less total time that any individual vehicle would need to stop. So I'll let Jordan kind of explain some more about our options that we've come up with.
All right, together with this data and feedback that we received from city officials as well as our IDS professors and our own design, we were able to come up with 3 main options that we thought would solve or alleviate the problems at these intersections. The first option is to simply widen the lanes by 1 lane in each direction, and then also adding turn lanes at the intersections. Obviously, this is the easiest, cheapest way to fix it. You know, it's probably a short-term fix, but in the long run, this is not alleviating any of the problems at any of our intersections. Widening lanes really is not going to cut down on any of the congestion. When you look at the future demand, it's not pedestrian friendly. To cross what would probably be about 140-foot intersection would be immensely hard to do. And also, when you look at it, from Duck Creek all the way down to Erie, to take 1 lane in each side, that's going to be an incredible amount of property. That's almost probably about 8,000 feet of property that you're going to have to acquire from each side, and there are established businesses on either side of the road that give you enough property for 1 lane. You're going to have some serious work to do. So while it's the easiest to design, fund, and construct, it's also probably not the best solution for a long-term fix at all these intersections. The next option is kind of a fusion between what the city is looking at and also with a couple changes that we have proposed. And this is the tight diamond interchange, which has 2 grade separations at Madison Road and Erie Road. And what we're really looking at here is, we'll focus on the 3 different interchanges quickly here. Duck Creek Road, you would be able to access it from 71 to the north, and then back up to 71 going north. And this is basically based on the fact that the majority of Duck Creek Road is coming from 71 in the morning and leaving back to 71 in the afternoon. Now, to access Duck Creek south on Red Bank, you would have a connector road that would come down here, this tight diamond interchange. What the tight diamond interchange and the grade separation really allows you to have is free flow on Red Bank, which is really, I mean, one of the main things that we're trying to solve. When traffic's moving freely, you kind of lose the congestion. Unfortunately, what you gain is a highway-type feel, and I know that it has been expressed through various different council people and officials that they're really not looking for a highway feel. They don't want this to be something that it separates the community. They want something to be something where they can kind of rally around it. It's a road that brings the community together. So it reduces the stopping, but again, like we see with adding lanes, it's difficult for pedestrians, especially from one side of Madison to the other. When you look at the possibility of sidewalks on either side and then connecting across, with a grade separated intersection, it really becomes difficult to get those pedestrians across safely. Our final option